Hello and welcome to Ijeria, my Minecraft project that I've been working on for many years. Several of you have suggested I upload a new video showing the progress I've made, and I'd like to start by saying that this is of course an entirely new build from the old video I put up, so you'll definitely see both some similarities and a lot of differences. Now I'll try not to take as long as last time, so we're gonna do mainly a hopper over where I'll show the most spectacular sights. But let's just start right here as we go into the city from the countryside area. You'll notice I've actually built Palace Hill up here on the backside. We're gonna have a look at that later. Here we have the bridge. Not very realistic from a defensive perspective. Customs office, Triumph Arc, and of course a small granary and storage right here. Here we have the city hippodrome. A hippodrome is a large amphitheater mainly made for horse racing. Circus Maximus in Rome was one such, but there were several around the Roman Empire, and also the Greek, as far as I recall. The Greek also had horse racing areas. Now here we also have the first baths of the city in front of the old marketplace here. You'll definitely notice a difference in style as we go further into the build. Since it's taken a long time to build, I've evolved my style of building along the way. And there's been some updates on the mod pack I use. That is Conquest Reforged mods, so you'll see some few very strange things, such as this as well. Very odd. Anyway, let's just take a look here at Temple Hill, with its villas and palaces for the wealthy. Now this is mainly made in plaster build, whereas the insulae of the city are made in travertine brick, a significantly more sturdy material and also far more expensive, which begs the question why the wealthy have not constructed their palaces in it. The reason why is simple. I started with Temple Hill and then I constructed the rest of the city, which means there's been a large evolution in my skill set since then. Let's just have a look here. This is the Temple Hill baths, loosely inspired by the Caracalla baths of Rome. If you haven't seen it, it's absolutely gorgeous. I love that city. I've been there twice, and it's absolutely beautiful. And here we have some inside baths, and over here we have some steam bath areas. Very nice. Now we go out here, and we have the temple. Notice that it's on the highest location in the city, since of course it's the most important religious building, indeed building at all in the city. Go through the outer part of the temple and into the inner sanctum, where we have the main altar. And we'll just get a bit more light going. Yes. Now as we overlook the city here, very nice. We also have our side of the temple here. And you can see some open areas where nothing has been built yet. Now this is the old part, and these are the newer kind of apartment structures. You'll notice a stark difference between them. Mainly that this has been sharply defined or inspired by the Roman insulae, apartment structures in the Roman Empire, which were basically built with shops in the ground, on the ground floor, like here, and then this large kind of entrance to an atrium where you had staircases going up to the other floors, where you had apartments. Mainly they were built of wood, but I like this travertine brick, so I'm probably gonna continue building with it. Still, it's very, very rich. Thinking of trying to do some experimentation with some designs with less travertine and more wood at some point, or plaster, probably, since the Romans like to put plaster on their buildings to make them look better so they could easier paint them. We'll see. By the way, these entrances are very realistic, even though it seems like a lot. If you've ever been to Rome, or indeed any of the old Roman territories, you will notice the doors are huge. It's actually quite a charming feature. Now, these atriums go up to above the roof level, so that fresh air can enter. Of course, they've kind of merged together, a lot of them, and they're built kind of like, yeah, however it fit, which gives the city a very organic look, and I like that a lot, since it's very difficult for me to build in diagonals. I've done it a little bit here, since we have a river running through, and that leads us to the docks. Massive dockyard facilities with 3 large piers, a small fishing area over here, a small shipyard here, a dry dock actually, for ship production, mainly small and medium-sized ships. Then we have lots of cranes. Since most of the cities are an elevation, you would have to lift all the goods all the way up. Of course, lots of wood coming in. Over here we have the Lighthouse Island, heavily inspired by the Lighthouse of Alexandria. Of course, it has its own garrison. We see that over here, that is a small building. It's encircled by a large fort, and we have here the Temple of the Sacred Flame. The flame that lights up the lighthouse is of course of paramount importance to the shipping, which is of paramount importance to the city. Therefore, it's kind of very sacred. Here we have a small fort on the other side protecting the Temple of the Sea. That has a very different design, since it actually has this open ceiling area for the inner sanctum, with of course water inside, because why not? On the other side you also have a very typical design of many temples in the classical period. This small area behind for treasures or religious or reliquaries or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what they were used for actually. And over here we have a small amphitheater with 2 covered sitting areas here looking down, and of course more important one up here looking down over here. Quite beautiful. Now, this is not the only amphitheater we have, but first off we have this marketplace here, covered in these beautiful arches. The marketplace. And over here we have another baths area. Next to that we have an amphitheater in very classical design, large stage and a majestic background. Then we have the main road here leading up towards the palace. Now, Palace Hill is of newer construction, and you can definitely see the difference. Of course, you should be able to see a difference, since this is way more opulent, having way more resources to spend. The ruling class would definitely want to distinguish their own home from the peasants and the normal citizens. Let's just take a quick look down here, where we have the Senate building. one of the older buildings actually, but it quite fits the style still. Here you can definitely imagine senators discussing matters of great import, legislation, and other political proposals. The old temple in the city over here. This is of a remarkably different design from all of the other temples, and I'm kind of imagining that it is a old temple that was built here from the first settlers, which is also why the Senate was later built across from it, so it has specific religious significance. Now we also have some tavernas, eating places, dining rooms, restaurants actually. But of course, the main attraction is the palace. The first we have here is the palatial gardens. Massive area with lots of greenery and some religious areas for contemplation and prayer, as well as leisure. The water coming in here, by the way, that runs down, actually goes all the way through to here. So I kind of like that continuity, that there's some sort of realism to the build. I've also tried to construct things with structural integrity in mind, so I don't just construct something that's entirely impossible to make. Now, as we approach the palace, we got this massive staircase that actually takes us above most of the rest of the city, except of course for Temple Hill, which is raised even above Palace Hill, since it's the main temple. But we enter the palatial grounds through this open area, and whoopty, the palace. Several wings, I'll just quickly go over them. But let's just have a look here. Lots of gardens, lots of water, lots of embellishment on the buildings. This giant structure over here is meant to be a sort of bath slash library slash something for the richest of society. I'm thinking of making this a dome instead of this large square. I think a dome would look awesome here. Now we have two small temples flanking the entrance here. And then of course we have the giant temple, the imperial temple here. I really like the details. Oops, just glitched through something there. I really like the details of these capitals here that are not present here. So you kind of have this more decoration to the front and less to the sides, but still some. And as we enter here, we again see a remarkably different design. I've really tried to play with different designs as I went along. Very open to the sky. And of course the palace itself. Now the palace itself is divided into several wings. You have the main entrance right over here, going up these massive staircases. Oh, let's just get some light. And then to the right over here you have a small wing, which is basically living quarters for visiting dignitaries and such. This in here is a ceremonial area. I'm not entirely satisfied by that. I definitely would like to rebuild it at some point in some new style. Not exactly sure how, but I just feel it's missing something. It should be more majestic somehow. Perhaps do more to the ballrooms inside, stuff like that. This part over here is pretty nice. It's the ministries and offices of the palace. This is the main political powerhouse, basically. And over here we have the private wing for the imperial family. In itself a massive palatial area, larger than most insulae. And yet it's just for one family. because wealth. Imperial wealth at that. And of course a small garden. I haven't decorated everything yet. Now of course the Imperial family could exit here, come down this staircase, and go towards this large statue on their way to the temple to pray. Or on their way down to the Hippodrome to get a seat at the royal, or rather imperial, seating area here. So yeah, this is Ijeria as it looks today. It's gone through several revisions. Like I said, this is probably the 5th or 6th iteration. So there's been a lot happening. But I'm very happy about it actually. It's kind of my outlet for creativity. And I can really see how my building style has evolved over time. For those of you interested, of course, the blocks that I use are the Conquest Reforged mod. It's a lot of new blocks and a new block selector as well. I would definitely recommend it if you haven't tried it, and if you like building, it's absolutely amazing for the options it gives you. So, that was it for all of those who requested this video. I definitely hope you enjoy it. And for everyone else who watches it, I hope you enjoyed as well. So, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.